The royal family of Ravania were going to visit the city during their world trip, and, of course, they were all bringing their precious crowns with them. They asked the mayor of the city to take special precautions.
Thank you.
So, he placed the crowns in a safe in a hidden room in his office, guarded by a couple of security officers. However, the next morning, when the mayor came to check on the crowns to report to the royal family that they were safe, he started panicking. Can you guess why? It's because the crowns inside the safe are not the real ones. The first crown has a price tag on it. The second crown is broken, and one of the gemstones on the third crown is missing.
Oh no!
That wouldn't happen if it was the real thing. The mayor wanted to make sure that whoever had stolen the crowns was caught. He also hoped the police would find them before the media learned about what had happened. And the only person who could help him was Detective Zelda. So, he immediately called her. The detective arrived at his office and inspected the secret room. She noticed something that might help her with her investigation. Can you figure out what it is? There's a piece of paper under one of the fake crowns. The thief left a note. Detective Zelda read it. Dear Mayor, I'm very disappointed in you. This accident has proved how inept you are at providing comfort and security for your guests, as well as your citizens. I believe I can be convinced to give the crowns back if you pay me a large, and I mean it, sum of money. Mark my words and count on what I say in my letter on this matter. Here is my contact number. 19.1-1.3-19.4-1.2 and 13.3-1.2-6.3-9.1. Yours truly, the Riddling Man. What can you make of this number? Well, the mayor thought it was a phone number. He immediately took his phone and dialed the number. But, just as Detective Zelda suspected, no one answered. In one of the last sentences of his letter, the Riddling Man underlined mark, words, count, and letter. That must be a hint. The number before the dot indicates which word you should look for in the note, and the number after the dot tells you which letter you need in that word. For example, 19.1 means you need to find the 19th word, which is comfort. The letter you need is the first one, which is C. When you do that for every number, you'll get Cafe West. Before Detective Zelda left for the cafe, she decided to check the security camera footage recorded at night. The mayor took her to the surveillance room. There were 3 different monitors, each showing the room from different angles. Detective Zelda realized only one of them was still recording live. The other 2 were showing fake images. Which recording is real and why? Do you remember what the room looked like when Detective Zelda was inspecting it? The clock certainly wasn't on this wall. It was on the opposite one, so the footage on the first monitor is fake. The footage on the second monitor isn't real also. If you look closer, you'll see a moth flying around the room, but it repeats the same movement over and over again. That's badly edited fake footage, so it makes the footage from the third monitor the real one.
Oh yes!
Detective Zelda rewound the footage and found the moment when the Riddling Man had broken into the room. He was covering his face, so it was impossible to tell what he looked like. Still, Detective Zelda managed to notice something that could help her find the criminal. Can you tell what it is? If you look at the lower left corner, you'll see someone walk into the room and leave it quickly while the Riddling Man is stealing the crowns. Could that mean that the Riddling Man has a partner? To find that out, Detective Zelda questioned all the security guards who had been working the night shift. The first guard, George, said that he'd been keeping watch in front of the door. The only time he left his place was when he took a short bathroom break. The second guard, Joe, said he'd been standing in front of the door to the mayor's office all night, and the only person who took a break was George. The third guard, Brian, said he'd been right there by the door as well. Detective Zelda knew only one of them was telling the truth, and the other two were lying. Who is the liar? Do you remember what the shoes of the man who entered the room looked like? White sneakers, and that's what Brian is wearing. So he's lying. And since Joe didn't mention that Brian had left his place, he's a liar too. George is the only one who's telling the truth.
Ciao.
Brian and Joe immediately started begging Zelda. "We can't end up in jail. We promised we didn't steal anything. You have to believe us," Detective Zelda asked. "Then why did you lie?" They said that they had heard some noise coming from the room while George was away. They decided that Brian would check the room and Joe would keep watch. When Brian saw someone in the room, he got scared and ran out of there. He told Joe that he would rather lose his job than have something bad happen to him. As for Joe, he lied because Brian was his best friend and he didn't want him to get fired. And since they never saw anyone enter or exit the room, they thought they were imagining things. After all, they were very tired. What do you think Zelda can do to check if the guards are telling the truth? She can check the surveillance footage of the street outside the building to confirm that nobody entered or left. When Zelda couldn't see anyone even walk across the street, she came to the conclusion that Brian and Joe were telling the truth.
Yeah!
The detective decided to check the secret room once again to figure out how the riddling man had gotten inside. Sometime later, she managed to spot another hidden door. Can you see it too? The bookcase is actually a door.
Oh my god!
She examined the door to figure out how to open it. She noticed 3 buttons, but only one could open the door. If Zelda pressed the wrong button, the door would get locked for good, and she would not be able to figure out where it led. Which button should she press? Take a look at the books next to the buttons. One of the titles is meaningless, while the others make sense. That must be an anagram, a word or phrase formed by rearranging the letters of another. When you rearrange the letters in the title, you'll get the second button. Detective Zelda pressed it, and the bookcase door opened. The woman saw a narrow hallway with stairs leading down. She took a step, and the door closed behind her back. She tried to force it open, but it wouldn't move. The only thing she could do was go down the stairs. She ended up in an underground pit. Inside, there was nothing but a shovel and a sign that showed her that she was around the pit. In the hole to the left, there were venomous snakes. The pit on the right was filled with poisonous gas. And on the ground right above her head, there was an angry dog with sharp teeth. What should she do? She should dig upwards. She needs to listen to the sounds the dog makes and wait for the animal to fall asleep. Then she should walk quietly past it. That must be how the riddling man entered and left the room. Detective Zelda didn't want to waste any more time, so she headed to Cafe West. A guy sitting at the table in the corner caught her eye. He looked suspicious. When Detective Zelda started walking towards him, he quickly wrote something on the newspaper he'd been reading. Then he ran away through the back door. Detective Zelda tried to catch him, but failed. She checked the paper and found another note. It said, "You're not the mayor, but I'll give him one last chance. It looks like you work for him, so bring me $20 million in cash. We can meet at the building that has the most stories in 2 hours." What building does the riddling man mean? The library. Of course, Detective Zelda was not going to give him any money. She took an empty bag to trick him into believing she had the cash so that he wouldn't run away. She went to the library. When she entered, she saw the riddling man wearing the same sunglasses and coat. He was waiting for her in the riddle and puzzle books section. Then, suddenly, someone accidentally pushed the woman. She dropped her bag. It fell on the floor and opened. The riddling man saw it was empty and understood that this was just a plan to catch him. He ran away. But he dropped something while escaping. It was a library book, and there was a library card inside. It had 3 different addresses of 3 different people who had borrowed the book before. Zelda immediately realized which was the riddling man's address. How did she figure it out? Remember the note the riddling man wrote to her at the cafe? The first address is written by the same person. Detective Zelda had 2 police officers break into the riddling man's apartment. They found the crowns, but the criminal was gone. For some reason, Detective Zelda felt that she would see the riddling man again.
Detective Callum arrived at a jewelry store because the owner reported that someone had stolen a diamond. He didn't let any customers or a cleaning man out, so they were the main suspects. Everyone denied stealing the diamond. There were no fingerprints found. Can you help Detective Callum decide whom he should arrest? He should arrest the man and the woman wearing gloves. Since no fingerprints were left, it must be one of them, or both. Olivia sneaked into an old mansion to explore it and got trapped inside. There are 3 ways out, and all of them are dangerous. Behind the first door, the roof and the floor are made of magnifying glass, and the sun would burn anyone who enters. Behind the second door, there's a dangerous doll with knives that can come to life at any moment. Behind the third door, there's a room filled with poisonous gas that makes anyone's skin melt. How can Olivia escape safely? She can just leave through the first door. It's night, so the sun isn't shining, so the first way out is safe. Detective Callum was abroad, traveling by train, when he heard 2 men arguing. One of them, Hendrix, was blaming the other, Brian, for trying to steal his suitcase. Their suitcases looked exactly the same, and Brian claimed that he had just confused the 2 by accident. Detective Callum asked both men to open their suitcases. Do you think it was an accident? Hendrix's suitcase is filled with clothes and electronic devices and must be pretty heavy. Brian's suitcase is almost empty, with only a pair of jeans and a book inside. It must be way lighter, and even though the bags look alike, Brian for sure knew that the bag he took couldn't be his. It was way heavier than it was supposed to be. Luna found her cousin, Mia, poisoned in her room and called the police. Detective Callum asked Luna what had happened. She said that she was walking past Mia's house when she saw that the light in her room was on. She walked to the window to see if Mia was there and saw her on the floor. She had a key, so she walked into the house and called the police. She didn't touch anything so that they could investigate what had happened. Detective Callum arrested Luna. Why? She said that she saw Mia in the window. But look, the blinds are closed. If Luna hadn't touched anything, she couldn't have seen what was going on in the room. She must be lying about something. While Ms. Virginia Dell, a rich lady, was on her 3-month business trip abroad, her mansion was robbed. The security was notified, and Detective Callum started the investigation. There were 3 people caught on the security camera, and he started interrogating them. Charlotte, Ms. Dell's cousin, said that she'd visited several times to collect the mail. Camilla, the housemaid, said that she had come 3 days ago to clean the house. Ismail, the gardener, said that she came every Wednesday to take care of the garden. All of them denied stealing anything. Detective Callum arrested one of them. Whom? Camilla, the housemaid. She said that she had cleaned the house 3 days ago. But look at the house. There's dust and dark stains. It doesn't look like the house has been cleaned recently, so she probably lied. Abigail stayed late in the office because she had a lot of work to do. She left the room to get some snacks and a coffee. Half an hour later, she returned and found out that someone had stolen her wallet, so she called the police. Detective Callum interrogated 3 people who were still in the office. Noel, the cleaning man, said that he had been cleaning another floor and had never stepped into Abigail's office that day yet. Sonia, the accountant, said that she had been talking on the phone with her mom. Sean, a regional manager, said that he had been in his office flooded with work. Who stole the wallet? No one. Detective Callum figured out that since Abigail went to get snacks and coffee, she must have had her wallet with her. He just recommended she should get some sleep and stop overworking. Elizabeth and her daughter Ella went abroad traveling. They were walking and shopping in one remote town when Elizabeth noticed that Ella had disappeared. She called the police and they started to look for the girl. There were 3 people nearby and they were interrogated. Layla said that she hadn't seen the girl. Madison said that she had seen the girl with her mom, but that was it. Amelia said that she had heard someone screaming, but she hadn't seen who it was. Who should be arrested? Layla. Look, she's carrying Ella's purse. Gideon had a girlfriend, a sister, and 2 cousins. Figure out who Gideon's sister is if the cousins are saying the truth and the sister and the girlfriend are lying. Chloe. E is his girlfriend. Ruby. Chloe is lying. Skylar. Ruby is lying. Lily. Skylar is not his sister. If Chloe is telling the truth, then Lily is lying. Then Skylar is his sister, who's also lying. So Ruby must be telling the truth, which contradicts that Chloe is telling the truth. So Chloe is for sure lying. Then Ruby is telling the truth, and Skylar is lying. So Lily is telling the truth. 2 liars are Chloe and Skylar, and they're Gideon's girlfriend and sister. Lily says that Skylar isn't his sister. So Skylar is his girlfriend, and then Chloe is his sister. Scarlett just moved into her new apartment 3 days ago. One evening, she was reading before bed when she heard a knock on the door. She opened the door, and there was a confused man who said, "Oh, I'm sorry. I just moved in here earlier today, and I thought it was my apartment. Once again, sorry, and good night." Then he left. Scarlett didn't believe that it was just a mistake and reported the man to the police. Why? The problem was that the guy had knocked. If he had really thought it was his room, he would have tried to open it with his own keys. Nora lived alone in the city suburbs. She called the police and reported that someone had robbed her house and stolen her savings that she had been keeping in a pair of socks on one of her wardrobe shelves. Detective Callum arrived with the police, took a look at the room, and closed the case, claiming that the lady was lying. Why did he think so? The room was absolutely clean. If someone had robbed the house, they would have made a mess while searching for money. The person who took the money must have known exactly where it was, which is unrealistic. Mrs. Ledger is a high school history teacher. One day, she started a sudden oral test, asking students questions from the back of the book. If the students figure out the order in which she asks, they can find the answer to their question in advance. The first 3 people she asked were Atlas, Eleanor, and Gracelyn. There are Zoe, Luca, Sienna, and Victoria left. Can you guess who will answer which question? Mrs. Ledger is asking students in alphabetical order. So, up next is Luca, then Sienna, then Victoria, and Zoe. Another day, another test. Once again, Mrs. Ledger is asking students. This time, the first ones to answer were Zoe, Luca, and Atlas. In which order will she ask the remaining students? This time, she started with people with the shortest names. There are 3 letters in Zoe, 4 in Luca, and 5 in Atlas. The next one is Sienna, who has 6 letters in her name. Then Eleanor with 7 letters, Victoria with 8 letters, and Gracelyn with 9. Ellie found herself locked in a dungeon and couldn't remember what had happened. She looked around and saw a door that could have been a way out, but it required a passcode and she didn't know it. Luckily, there was a hint. 1-802-3004-0803-2611. She has just one chance, and if Ellie doesn't get it right, the dungeon will get locked forever. Can you help her decide which password is the correct one? Take a closer look. Some numbers have faded away a bit. This is probably because they had been used the most. They are 1, 2, and 6. The only code that uses all of them is the last one, 2611. It must be this one. Aurora came home after a long day at the university and was excited to eat the mint-flavored ice cream she had bought in the morning. But when she opened the freezer, the ice cream was gone. Aurora asked her 3 siblings who had eaten her ice cream, and they all denied it. Dawn said, "I'm on a diet, and I haven't been eating ice cream and stuff for a week now." Everett said, "Dude, I had my chips. There was no need to eat your ice cream this time." Phoenix said, "First, I don't like mint ice cream, and second, I was in my room all day, and I didn't even go down once until now. Who has eaten the ice cream?" It was Phoenix. Aurora never mentioned the ice cream flavor, but he still knew it.
Jeremiah is on the run from the police. He stole several large gold bars from the bank. He has 3 gold bars in his arms, each weighing 20 pounds. In fact, there's a way for him to get away with that. All he needs to do is to cross a bridge. But here's the kicker. The bridge can only support 200 pounds. The 3 bars of gold weigh 60 pounds, and Jeremiah weighs 160 pounds. How can he cross the bridge without getting rid of any of the bars? Seems like to do so, one of the bars should literally float in the air. To make it happen, Jeremiah must juggle them. This way, only 2 bars will be acting on the bridge, while the third one will be airborne. Voila! 160 plus 20 plus 20 equals 200, so the bridge isn't likely to let Jeremiah down. You're playing dodgeball with 2 other people, Arnie and Preston. You're standing in a triangle, and you all take turns throwing a ball at one of the others of your choosing until only one person is remaining. You have a 30% chance of hitting someone you aim at. Arnie has a 50% chance, and Preston a 100% chance. Yeah, this guy never misses. If you hit somebody, they are out and no longer get a turn. If the order of throwing is you, Arnie, and then Preston, what should you do to have the best chance of winning? First, you gotta miss the first time on purpose. If you try to hit Arnie and you do hit him, then Preston goes next and he will 100% hit you and you will lose for sure. If you aim at Preston and hit him, then Arnie will go for you. If you miss on your first turn, Arnie will go for Preston for sure because he's a stronger player. If he hits him, then it's just you and Arnie, but you are going first. If he misses, then Preston will hit Arnie and it will be just you and Preston. But again, in this case, you are going first. It will be a 30% chance, but this way, you're in the finals. A man wants to enter an exclusive club, but he doesn't know the password. Another man walks to the door, and the doorman says 12. The man says 6, and is let in. Another man walks up, and the doorman says 6. The man says 3, and is let in. Thinking he has heard enough, he walks up to the door, and the doorman says 10, he says 5, and he isn't let in. What should he have said? Three. He should have said how many letters were in the number he said. A thief enters a high-end boutique and frightens the shop assistant, forcing him to open the safe. The shop assistant says, "The code for the safe is different every day, and if you try to do anything to me, you'll never get the code." But the thief manages to guess the code on his own. How did he do it? That thief was smart. The code is different. The shop assistant told him this. A woman is found alone in the middle of the desert. She's surrounded by a pile of debris and a wrecked plane. There are no other signs of life in the area. Despite the crash, the woman is alive and well. Nothing serious happened to her, and she appears to be in good health. How did she survive? Look closer. The woman wasn't on the plane when it crashed. She survived by jumping out of the airplane with a parachute before it crashed. Two fathers and their two sons go fishing together. They each catch one fish to take home with them. They do not lose any fish, and yet when they get home, they only have 3 fish. How can this happen? There are just 3 people: a grandfather, his son, and his grandson. A super wealthy businessman, Mr. Ben Swift, was taken and left locked up all alone in a dark room. His phone almost ran out of charge, so he can write only one message. He knows that someone might spy on his phone, so he decided to write a message with a code to a high school friend, John Smith, who has a detective agency. He remembered that in high school, they would cipher messages to each other, shifting one letter to the right each time they needed to write a secret code. So, check this out. Can you guess what it means? It's not gibberish. The message is, "It was my accountant." You were wandering in the jungle, and all of a sudden, you saw a magnificent antique castle. You enter it and see its inhabitants. It's kind of hard to say if they're friendly or not, but hey, look, they just fetched you some snacks. Still, you can tell from their grins that these snacks must be a trap for you. You can't say no to them and need to choose something to eat. There are 4 muffins before you, all looking yummy, and your mouth is watering. One of the dwellers, who seems to be their leader, tells you that the first muffin has some fermented cabbage inside. The second one is swarming with live ants. The third one has mud instead of chocolate cream, and the fourth one has ackee fruit inside. So, which dessert would you opt for? A muffin with fermented cabbage may sound weird and not dessert-like, but it's safe. You've tried fermented cabbage, also known as kimchi, before, and you loved it. For those who love to risk, the fourth one could be good to go too. Aki fruit is delicious when cooked properly, but you weren't sure if the dwellers took care of cooking it well. As for ants and mud muffins, I'd pass on them for sure. Mary is a nail technician. Her services are free to anyone who wants to set up an appointment with her. However, most people still end up paying here. How so? Mary only does one hand for free, so most people who come to get her services end up paying the full price. They don't really want to look bizarre with the nails done only on one hand. Jocelyn went grocery shopping and bought a lot of milk, yogurts, meat, and cheese. When she came back home, she realized she had nowhere to store all these products, as her fridge was already full. How can she save all the food that she bought? Jocelyn needs to order stuff in her fridge. Look, here's a pack of rice, some chips, and even cookies. These products don't need to be stored in the fridge. Once she takes it all out of the fridge, she'll have enough space to store dairy products and meat. Phil's teacher is a great person, but like many other people, he has some oddities. He would never let Phil go home until he solves one of his tricky riddles. This time, the riddle is, how many apples in total are there on a pine if there are 5 apples on each branch and there are 8 branches on the tree?
Uh-oh.
Okay, this one was easy. There are no apples on a pine. There are cones. Poor Kathy lived with a stepmother and 3 wicked stepsisters. Sounds familiar. Her dream was to go to a lit party she's been waiting for all year long. Her stepmother, Evelyn, never let Kathy go anywhere. This time, Evelyn decided to let Kathy go when she has finished all the tasks given by Evelyn. The stepmother asked Kathy to bring her some water, but she gave her a colander to carry water in. How can Kathy bring the water if she has nothing but a colander? Kathy needs to freeze some water and put it in the colander. It takes some time to melt, but when Evelyn gets that colander full of ice, technically, she'll have a colander full of water. Hey Kathy, make sure to be back by midnight. You need a ride?
Nellie is approaching a picturesque field. She's carrying a package. If she doesn't manage to open it before reaching the field, she won't survive. Can you guess what's in the package? Nellie is skydiving. There's a parachute in her package. After a safe landing, Nellie decides to take a walk in a sunflower field. Can you help her spot 3 odd things about this area? This straw man is winking. This sunflower has teeth. And there are 2 suns in the sky. Nellie walks too far and gets lost in the woods. She wanders around for a while and meets 4 guys sitting on one big tree. Can you help her rank them in order of foolishness? The 4th person is cutting the branch where he sits. So, he's the silliest. The first person is sitting on the branch that will soon be cut by the second guy. So the first person is the second most foolish. The second person doesn't see that he's about to fall too, so he's the third. And finally, the third guy. He's a bad person, but definitely not a stupid one. Nellie moves on and finds a highway. 3 people offer to give her a ride to the nearest town. Can you help Nellie choose the safest driver? Take a look at this guy's car. Its tires are flat, and there's a puddle of engine oil spilled out of the car. Probably not the safest choice.
Oh.
This beautiful lady and her car are both translucent because they're ghosts. As for this gloomy trucker, he looks pretty reliable.
Yeah.
Nellie enters the local coffee shop and meets 2 ladies. Both ladies tell her that they are daughters of a famous billionaire. Can you guess who's lying? The lady on the right is a liar. The logo on her t-shirt is fake. Therefore, she's not rich. Nellie doesn't have any money to buy food. The coffee shop manager feels sorry for her and offers Nellie a free lunch. But first, she has to solve his tricky riddle. Nellie agrees. Here's the task.
People have stepped on me, but not many. I never stay full for long. I have a dark side. What am I?
Can you help Nellie win her free food? The correct answer is the moon. Nellie is eating and looking through the pictures hanging on the wall. Suddenly, she sees something weird. Can you spot any odd details too? This person appears in both pictures, looking young and pretty. But the time distance between these 2 photos is 100 years. Nellie enters a flower shop and sees the owner putting bouquets in big vases. If he puts 1 bouquet per vase, he will end up with 1 extra bouquet. And if he puts 2 bouquets per vase, he will end up with 1 extra vase. How many vases and bouquets does he have? He has 3 vases and 4 bouquets. The flower shop owner offers Nellie a job. He has just received a delivery. There are 3 boxes labeled red roses, white roses, and red and white roses. Each box is labeled incorrectly. Nellie has just 1 chance to pick up a flower from any box and then label the boxes correctly. Can you help her accomplish this task? Nellie should take a flower from the box labeled as red and white roses. Since they're labeled incorrectly, this box should contain either red roses only or white roses only. Let's suppose that Nellie finds the red roses. Now she can label this box correctly. We know that the white box cannot have white roses. Therefore, now Nellie can label the remaining 2 boxes correctly. After earning some cash, Nellie decides to book a room in the local hotel to get some rest. The manager offers her to choose from 3 empty rooms. Can you help Nellie pick the best option? There are cracks in the window glass in the first room. Very unsafe. And there's a zombie hiding under the bed in the 3rd room. So, Nellie should choose the 2nd one. Nellie locks herself in the room. She opens the window and stands nearby, breathing fresh air. Suddenly, she throws something out of the window. Nellie passes out very soon after doing that. That's a mystery because she's perfectly healthy and nobody did anything to her because the door is locked. Can you find any logical explanation for what happened here? Nellie decided to throw a boomerang out of the window. The boomerang went to the maximum distance and returned back straight to her head. After a while, Nellie wakes up with a headache. She goes to the local shop to buy some aspirin. She spots 3 odd things about this place. Can you see them too? There's corn on the shelf along with napkins and toilet paper. The announcement offers an 800% discount. That's too good to be true. And finally, the shopkeeper is wearing 2 pairs of glasses. Suddenly, the shopkeeper begins to yell, "Someone stole my money!" And he locks the customers inside the shop and calls the police. They arrive and question 4 suspects. Maya says, "I came here to buy water for my 12 o'clock yoga class. I'm 20 minutes late because of you." Bob says, "What's the point of stealing cash? Everyone knows that people use cards nowadays." Lily says, "This shopkeeper is a bad person. He deserved that." And Nellie replies, "Sorry, I was focusing on my own purchase. I didn't see anything suspicious." After hearing that the officers had arrested one person, can you guess who? Maya, take a look at the clock on the wall. It's only 10 a.m. She's not late, therefore she's lying. Nellie is walking down the street. She sees a cozy garage sale organized by Miss Green. The fixed price for any item is only $1. Amy buys an old dress. Phil takes this beautiful antique vase, and Vivienne purchases a shabby vintage suitcase. Nellie comes over to Miss Green and says,
Oh,
"Madam, you've just sold an expensive thing for a song."
what?
What does she mean? Can you guess? Vivian lifts this suitcase quite easily, so it's probably empty. And besides, it has holes in the bottom. Therefore, it can't be precious. This vase isn't antique. It has a sticker from a dollar store. Although this dress is dirty and torn, it has a large, expensive brooch pinned to it, so many gemstones can't cost just $1. Nellie asks Miss Green if she can use her bathroom. Miss Green says,
Sure, it's at the end of the corridor.
Nellie is walking down the corridor and confuses the doors. Nellie ends up in this messy kitchen. The door won't open. Can you help Nellie find a key? It's in the teapot. And Miss Green enters the kitchen and tells Nellie,
I'm a witch, young lady, and I'm gonna give you a gift if you manage to solve my riddle.
Oh, yes.
Nellie agrees. Here's the task.
It starts with T, it ends with T, and it's full of tea. What is it?
Can you solve this mystery? The correct answer is a teapot again. Miss Green brings Nellie to her dusty basement and says,
One of these 3 doors leads to a magical world, and the other 2 are fake. You have only one attempt to choose the correct door. Good luck.
Oh, yeah.
Can you help Nellie out? She should choose the 3rd door. Take a look at the floor. Dusty footprints lead to the 3rd door only, which means that doors 1 and 2 are fake. Nellie opens the 3rd door and enters an enchanted forest. There are 4 ways to cross it, but all 4 passages are pretty dangerous. A hungry dragon is waiting for her on the first route. A massive fire is burning all over the 2nd path. And the 3rd path is basically a windowless tunnel. And the 4th passage is full of scorpions and snakes. Can you help Nellie choose the right path? She should pick the 3rd way. The tunnel doesn't have windows. But who said it doesn't have an exit? Nellie walks the tunnel and finds herself in a beautiful castle. The guard says, "This castle is yours if you manage to crack my riddle. I can fill a room, but I take up no space. What am I?" Can you help Nellie win the castle? The correct answer is light. You just entered a riddle solving competition. The game show host shows you the first riddle you have to answer. Take a look at the image. Who do you think will be able to make it all the way across the line? Let's face it, it's the man on the left. Even though it looks like he's having a hard time carrying such heavy things, the weight is evenly distributed between his two hands, so he'll probably make it through without any problem. For your next challenge, the game show host shows you a picture of sinking boats. Which boat do you think will sink first? The first boat has 2 holes in it, but somehow it has way less water inside. The second boat only has 1 hole, but look at the amount of water that got inside. It's definitely the second boat that's going to sink first. Since you passed the first 2 rounds, the third one gets a bit harder. Ken was riding on his rollerblades when he fell down and hurt his head. He woke up in the hospital only to find that 3 Barbies were waiting for him. Take a look at the image. Can you figure out which Barbie is actually Ken's girlfriend? This is a tricky one. It can't be the third Barbie, because the real Barbie would never wink at Ken. It's usually him that does the flirty things. It's also not the second Barbie, because she would never put makeup in front of him. So this leaves us the first Barbie, who must be his girlfriend. The Fin is a famous hostel in Spain. It's especially famous for its fun showers. But hey, something doesn't look right in this image. Take a look and try to guess what it is. The woman on the right is squeezing a ketchup bottle instead of a shampoo bottle. That's definitely weird, huh? For the final rounds, the host picked out a few written riddles for you. The first one is, I speak without a mouth and hear without ears. Am I a microphone, a phone, or an echo? What would you say? The answer is an echo. I'm not alive, but I can grow. I don't have lungs, but I need air. What am I? A tree, fire, or clouds? The correct answer is fire. Way to go if you chose that. Matthew works in the same company as Jean. He's had a crush on her for months and has been trying to impress her in any way he can think of. That's why he decided to take part in the Brain Challenge, a contest his company organizes once a year. By saying yes, he had to answer a bunch of expert-level questions and solve some pretty difficult riddles. For the first round, he had to crack a rebus puzzle. Take a look at the piece of paper they gave him. Can you guess the answer? The answer was invisible string. Nice! For the next round, they took Matthew to a room full of random stuff. His task was to find a specific object. As a clue, they gave him a piece of paper that said, "What goes up when the rain goes down?" Look around and help him find the object. It was that red and blue umbrella over there. For the final round, Matthew had to solve an AI riddle. If he answered it correctly, he would win the contest's main prize and probably Jean's heart. The riddle said, I have 1,000 needles, but I do not sew. What am I? Can you guess what he answered? The correct answer is a porcupine. Alfred is a supermodel, and he just landed his dream job. The biggest magazine in the country invited him to be on the cover of their latest issue. On the day of the photo shoot, he arrived early in the studio. After finishing with hair and makeup, he looked in the mirror and screamed, "Oh no!" His skin was all red. It looked like he was having some serious allergic rash. He called all the assistants he had seen earlier that day to interrogate them. Amy, the photographer's assistant, said she had been told Alfred was allergic to peanuts, so she made sure to only buy safe snacks. Bo, the makeup artist, said he hadn't touched Alfred's food. He said that right after he had finished his job, he left for a coffee break. Mary, the cleaning lady, said that she knew how sensitive models could be, so that's why she only used organic and hypoallergenic products to clean his dressing room. Alfred immediately knew who had contributed to his rash. Can you figure it out too? It was definitely Bo. Sure, he didn't have access to Alfred's food, but he was the only one who touched Alfred's face that day. Liv was recording a dance routine for her social media page when a huge portal opened up and swallowed her whole. The next thing she knew, she was stuck inside a big cavern. Out of the blue, a great genie appeared. He told her that she would only be allowed to leave if she figured a way out by herself. As soon as he disappeared, she saw that there were 3 buttons on the wall. There was a red, a yellow, and a green button. On the floor, there was a note that read, TDUPT RNOR EHEB SST. She clicked one of the buttons and managed to open a hidden door on the wall. Can you guess which button she chose? The red button. She unscrambled the words on the note and discovered it read, "Press the red button." As soon as she pressed the button, Liv was transported into a virtual reality world. An artificial intelligence greeted her and showed her 3 doors. The AI told her that there was only one door that would lead her to freedom. It told her that behind the first door, there were hungry Pac-Men waiting for someone to walk inside. Behind the second door, there were cursed rollerblades. Once you put them on, you would never be able to take them off. Plus, they had a will of their own and ended up taking you to some pretty dark places. Behind the last door, there were flying, fuzzy creatures with laser eyes that burn anything they came into contact with. Which door do you think Liv should choose to escape? Well, she should pick the second door because she wouldn't be obligated to put on the pair of rollerblades. She could walk past them and straight to her freedom. During the time she was gone, Liv noticed that someone had stolen her laptop. It had all of her social media content in it. She figured it must have been one of her roommates, so she decided to take a look around the house to try to find it. Take a look at these images. The first room belongs to Jill. The second one belongs to Rachel, and the third one belongs to Amy. Can you figure out who stole Liv's laptop? If you look closely, Rachel's cat is sleeping on top of something that really looks like a laptop. It must have been her. On a hot summer day, Marjorie decided to go to the public swimming pool. As soon as she arrived there, she ran into 3 close friends, Sarah, Raven, and Donna. One of these women just gave birth to triplets. Can you guess who? It was Donna. If you look closely at her wrist, she's wearing 3 DIY bracelets with the word Mom written on them. Sam was backpacking through Latin America when he stopped at a restaurant to get some lunch. When he walked inside, he immediately spotted something weird. One of the customers is definitely not human. Can you guess who? It's the guy on the counter. Look, he's charging his hand on the counter socket. He must be a robot or something. Matt buys a new house. In the basement, he discovers 3 signed boxes and a note. It says that one of the boxes contains $1 million. The 2 other boxes are empty, according to the note. Only one of the 3 messages written on the boxes is true. On the first box, it said that the cash is not there. The second box has a similar message: the cash is not here. And the third box says that the cash is in the second box. If you were Matt, which bag would you choose? Matt should choose the first bag, as we know only one of the clues is true. So the money should be in the first bag. Matt walks out of his house and goes to the garden. He pulls out his right hand. Suddenly, a bee lands on it. What's in Matt's eye? Beauty. Why? Because beauty is in the eye of the bee holder. In the garden, Matt takes 2 pictures. Can you spot 3 differences between them? Here they are. Matt returns home and figures out that someone has broken into his house, and the thief has just left. How did Matt figure this out? Someone turned on his electric stove and put a plastic bag on top. The plastic is only half melted, so the thief must have left a few seconds ago. Matt goes to his favorite vegan restaurant as usual on Fridays. He orders a slice of pizza, puts it on a table, and leaves for a couple of minutes to wash his hands. Then Matt comes back and finds out that his pizza is gone. He interrogates 3 customers nearby. Harold says, "I'm not hungry, so I didn't even look at your food. I came here for the sake of coffee." Bella says, "I was having a video call with my boyfriend. He lives in another country, so we go on virtual dates every Sunday. Distance is so exhausting." And Anna says, "I was taking pictures of my food, so I didn't look around. You can check them out if you don't believe me." After hearing about what they had to say, Matt knows for sure who's a liar. What about you? According to Bella, she goes on virtual dates every Sunday. But it's Friday. Liar! Matt's girlfriend Erica is visiting him in his lab. Suddenly, she faces 2 identical Matts. Can you help her figure out who's a clone? The guy on the right has a scar on his arm. Meanwhile, the clone doesn't have any because his skin is brand new. Matt goes to the mall and buys a bat and a ball for $1.10 in total. The bat costs $1 more than the ball. How much does the ball cost? Nope, the correct answer is not 10 cents. It's actually a little less. A ball costs 5 cents and the bat $1.05. And together they total $1.10. Someone robbed Matt's lab. The thief stole the cloning device and he's going to hand it over tonight. This is a great opportunity to catch the criminal. The police figure out the approximate place where to look for the device. They decide to question several people nearby. Greg says, "The garbage truck has just emptied the overhead trash cans." Jeff says,
I'm in charge of these trash cans. I checked all the cans next to the yellow ones and found nothing interesting.
And Bill just points at all the trash cans that someone approached today. Can you help the police find the trash can with the stolen device? First of all, we need to calculate the top cans. And now let's check all the remaining trash cans which people were approaching. The next step is to remove those next to the yellow ones. And here it is, the trash can we've been looking for. After the robbery, Matt decides to lock his lab door with a password. There are 4 buttons with different images: orange, banana, apple, and tomato. Can you guess which button opens the door? The odd one out is the tomato because all the others are fruits, so it should open the door. A priceless crystal disappeared from the local science museum. The thief left no trace behind. After analyzing the museum's security cameras, Matt invites 3 suspects for an interrogation. The security guard says, "I only left my post once during lunchtime. I can swear that the crystal was still there when I came back." The museum curator says, "I spent the day guiding a tour of foreign scientists. They came to see the crystal at the beginning of the tour. It was still shining bright in its place." One of the visitors says, "I only popped in for a quick visit. I didn't even pass through the room where the crystal was kept." After hearing their stories, Matt knows for sure who the thief is. What about you? It was the visitor. He hid the crystal in his sleeve. Matt's brother Greg arrives at his house to eat together. He yells, "Matt, the microwave is on, and it's already defrosting our dinner!" Greg hears Matt's reply from the bathroom. "Could you please check the microwave and let me know how much time is left?" Greg grabs his phone and calls the police. He reports a dangerous situation involving his brother. How did he know? Greg is blind, so his brother would have asked him to look at the microwave because Matt knows that Greg can't see. This made Greg suspicious, and that's why he called the police. The next day, Matt wakes up in a secret abandoned lab. He wanders around and finds 3 doors leading to freedom, but each door is hiding an unpleasant surprise. Here's a creepy monster sitting in a cage behind the first door. It's very hungry and angry. There's a bunch of venomous snakes crawling behind the second door, and the lights are off, so Matt won't be able to see them. And behind the door, there's a huge fire. Which way is more or less safe? He should choose the first door. The monster is in a cage, so Matt can just pass by and escape. Matt manages to escape and enters the nearest gas station. He spots 3 odd things about this place right away. Can you see them too? The poster with the engine oil advertisement offers a 0% discount. The cashier has an octopus tentacle instead of hands. See this package of chips? It says they have the flavor of spiders. That's weird. The cashier agrees to help Matt get home if he manages to solve his riddle.
I came first on Earth, but second in heaven. I also come twice a week, but I'm found just once a year. I stay away for months, but you can find me in February. What am I? The correct answer is the letter E. Matt returns home and finds out that someone has left homemade cookies on the kitchen table. He examines all the doors and windows. He finds no signs of a break-in. Matt decides to question 3 suspects who have a key. His mother says, "I spent all day with my yoga teacher, and my class ended 10 minutes ago, so I didn't have time for cookies." The plumber says, "I fixed the kitchen sink in the morning and left for home. Why would I bring you any gifts?" And Matt's girlfriend, Erica, says, "I visited your house a couple of hours ago to drop off some shopping bags and left for the gym. I didn't see any cookies." Who's lying? The plumber. Take a closer look at the kitchen sink. It has no tap. Therefore, he lied. Matt is walking in the local restaurant and gets lost in a maze. He has only 15 seconds to get out before it starts raining. Can you help him find the right direction? Ready to see the answer? Here's the correct route. Whose wife is a vampire? This guy's wife is a vampire because she only came to the party after sunset. Whose husband is a werewolf? The girl on the left is sweeping up her cat's hair. See? There's a cat in the background. Meanwhile, there are scratches on the floor and walls in the house of the girl on the right. And this shoe has a torn front. Her husband must be a werewolf. Whose wife is actually a ghost? The woman on the right is wearing a ghost costume. It's Halloween. But the woman on the left is a real ghost because we can't see her legs under the sheet. Whose husband is actually a zombie? The man on the left is just sick. The man on the right is a zombie because he's the only one who doesn't eat human food and has an empty plate. Water lilies grow on the lake. Every day, their number doubles. The lilies will completely cover the entire surface of the lake in 48 days. How many days will it take them to cover half of the lake? "47 days. You see, every day the number of the water lilies doubles. On day 48, the lake will be completely covered with lilies. It means that on day 47, there will be twice as few lilies as on day 48. Jack noticed that someone regularly ruins his lawn. He decided to install a hidden camera and figure out who approached his house most often. After 4 days, he decided to check the footage and immediately realized who the culprit was. Can you guess who it is? Jack's neighbor Karen ruins his lawn. She's present in all the photos, but she tries to disguise herself so that she can't be recognized. A woman didn't have her driver's license with her. She didn't stop at a railroad crossing when the barrier was lowered. Then, ignoring the stop sign, she moved in the wrong direction along a one-way street and stopped only after passing 3 intersections. Traffic police officers, seeing all this, decided not to interfere. Why? The woman first traveled by train and then walked. Mary is trying to enter an ice castle to save her friend Logan, but there's a combination lock on the gate. Luckily, there's a clue carved on the ice. Here it is. 162. One number is correct and in the right place. 842. 2 numbers are correct, but in the wrong place. 526. Nothing is correct. Can you guess the code? The passcode is 184. First, we exclude 2 and 6, since in 526, no number is correct. In 842, 2 numbers are correct, so 2 of the numbers we need are 8 and 4. The last number must be 1, and since 1 is in its place, we can easily figure out where 8 and 4 must go. Mary opens the gate and enters the castle. She walks down an icy corridor and comes across 3 doors. There's a severe snowstorm behind the first door. In the second room, there's a dangerous snow dragon. And behind the third door, there's a lake covered with a layer of dark blue ice. Which door should Mary choose? The dragon is a definite no-no. The dark blue ice is thin and unsafe. Mary is likely to just fall into the lake. The first door is the best option. Mary crosses the room and finds herself in a long corridor. The Ice Queen's monsters start chasing her. The girl runs down the hallway and sees another 3 doors made of clear ice. There's a magical snow parrot in the first room. The second room is filled with water. And there's a small black room behind the third door. It looks more like a locker. Which door should Mary hide behind to avoid being found? The Ice Queen's parrot behind the first door will scream when it sees Mary. The third door is a bad option because the doors are made of clear ice, so the monsters will spot her immediately. The second door is the best option. Mary swims away and finds herself in a big hall. She sees Logan, and they're about to run away together when the Ice Queen captures them in a cage. There are 3 levers next to the cage, and the Ice Queen gives Mary these hints. The first lever is going to open the cage, but they'll fall into a freezing cold underground lake. The second lever will open all the cages in the castle and release all the monsters that are inside. The third lever will open the cage, but only one person will be able to get out. What should the guys do? They should pull the third lever and let Logan out. After that, they should pull the first lever. Mary will fall into the water, but Logan will help her get out of the lake. John decided to make a vegetable salad for his friends. To prepare for it, he will need 3 peppers and the same number of tomatoes. And he needs fewer cucumbers than tomatoes, but more than radishes. How many different vegetables will John use in the salad? .3 peppers, 3 tomatoes, 2 cucumbers, and 1 radish. A professor went to have his lunch break, leaving 3 students in the lecture hall. When he returned, he realized that an answer sheet for an important exam had disappeared from his desk. He questioned the students. Kyle said, "10 minutes after you'd left, my mom called me and asked me to meet with her near the college building. When I returned, the sheet was already gone." Brian said,
No one called Kyle. He took something from your desk and left.
and Ryan said, "Brian is telling the truth. When we realized that it was an answer sheet, we ran after him outside, but he had already left." Who should the professor believe? Ryan and Brian are lying. They said they had run after Kyle outside, but it was raining and they're both dry. Which of these artists is suspicious? The girl on the right has been using orange paint, not red. Then why do her clothes have red stains? Who is suspicious at this party? The second girl marked this glass to know which of them contained poison. Which of these students is suspicious? Student 3 only pretends to be writing. He's actually reading a magazine. Which of these women is suspicious? The woman on the right is only pretending to be pregnant. A prince married a simple girl and brought her to the palace. His mother, the queen, didn't like it at all. She started watching the girl and discovered that she secretly took some jewelry out of the palace and hid it in the ground under an oak tree. The queen immediately went to the prince and told him about it. The prince checked under the oak tree and actually found the jewels. His wife started begging him, "My prince, I swear, I didn't steal it for myself. I'm leaving the jewelry here so that my family can pick it up later." But the queen said, "She's lying to you. She hides the jewelry here because she wants to sell it when she runs away from the palace." Who's lying? The girl's lying. No one forbids her to visit her family or give them whatever they need openly. She hides it because she'll need the money after running away. John had a lunch break, so he went to the butcher to buy some meat. He asked the butcher to cut the meat in a specific way. The butcher asked if John was a firefighter. John said yes. How did the butcher guess John's profession? John was still wearing his uniform when he went on his lunch break. Mary went to the forest to pick some berries and mushrooms. Sometime later, the girl realized she had gotten lost. Suddenly, she heard the trees crackling behind her back. There was a monster approaching! Mary ran as fast as she could and managed to get away from the monster. She saw a small house and went inside. An elderly lady lived in the house. She said she would help Mary, but Mary immediately realized that this lady was a shapeshifter. She was the monster in the forest! How did Mary know that? Have you noticed that the elderly woman has the same symbol on her hand as the monster had? Luckily, it turned out that the woman was not actually evil. She helped Mary to get out of the forest. The elderly lady from the forest has 3 cats: Snowball, Bella, and Lisa. They usually sleep on 3 different pillows: yellow, pink, and blue. Bella likes sleeping on the pink pillow. Snowball never chooses either pink or blue. Think about it and try to guess which pillow each of the cats sleeps on. Bella sleeps on the pink pillow, Snowball lies on the yellow one, and Lisa sleeps on the blue one. Now it's time to think fast. Why is Santa Claus so good at karate? Because he has a black belt, duh. What bear has no teeth? Marmalade bear. How can you make a rattlesnake cry? Take the rattle away. Adam is a famous opera singer. He's going to perform for the king and queen for 7 days in a row. In return for his work, they should pay him 1/7 of a gold bar per day. Adam doesn't accept prepayments. He requires a daily payment, which is 1/7 of a gold bar. What's the fewest number of cuts they should make to be able to pay Adam each day? Just 2. Here's how it works. Day 1, cut 1/7 of the gold bar and give it to Adam. Day 2, cut 2/7 of the gold bar and give this piece to Adam. He'll give you 1/7 of the bar back. Day 3, give the singer the 1/7 piece you received the previous day. Day 4, give Adam 4/7 of the gold bar and he will give you the 1/7 and 2/7 pieces as change. Day 5, give Adam the 1/7 part of the bar. Day 6, give him the 2/7 piece and get the 1/7 one as change. And finally, Day 7, give Adam his final 1/7 piece of the gold bar. Jenny and Sam arrived at a picturesque campground. They had to set up a tent. There were 3 good spots: in the forest, in the field, and near the lake. Which place should they opt for? The best option is to choose the field. Wild animals live in the forest. As for the lake, look, a zombie is hiding in the bushes over there. Probably not the best neighbor. George was walking down the street. Suddenly, a wizard popped out of nowhere and teleported George to his castle. He offered the guy to choose between these 3 doors. There's a hungry tiger behind the first door. There's an angry dinosaur behind the second door. And the room behind the third door is filled with toxic gas. Which door should George choose? The second one. Dinosaurs went extinct millions of years ago. Jerry has an apple tree. The number of apples on his tree doubles every week. After 30 weeks, the tree is completely covered with fruit. Can you guess how many weeks the tree needs to get half covered with oranges? Oranges don't grow on apple trees, but if I asked you about apples, the answer would be 29 weeks. Because, as we know, the number of apples doubles every week. In the ocean, there's an island. On the island, there's a house. In the middle of the house, there's a glass of water. Inside the glass of water, there's a coin. What's in the middle of the ocean? The correct answer is simple, the letter E. Harry went to a party. He liked these 4 ladies. He wanted to talk to one of them. Which one should he choose? Take a look at the first lady's hand. She's a zombie. The second lady has a vampire bite on her neck. She can turn into a vampire any minute and ruin the date. And the fourth lady is a ghost, so Harry should go and talk to the third lady.
Hello.
Detective Thomas received a call from Holly. She said, "Please come over. I got robbed. It happened so fast. I left my purse in the backseat of the car. When I stopped at the traffic light, someone opened the door and snatched my purse." Detective Thomas hit the road and rushed to the crime scene. But when he saw Holly, he realized that she was a liar right away. How? Holly has a 2-door car. How could a thief steal something from the back seat? There are 3 houses. One of the houses seems very weird. Can you tell which one of them looks suspicious? Look at the footprints. They lead to and from houses 1 and 3, so people come and go from those houses. As for the second house, the footprints only lead in one direction, inside. People come in, but they never go out. Take a look at this messy floor. Can you count the number of laptops that you can charge with the help of these extension leads? The cord of extension lead 3 is torn. As for the second lead, one of its outlets is broken. Extension lead 4 has only one outlet, which makes the entire thing pretty useless. And extension lead 6 doesn't have any cable at all. Now let's see what we can do about it. Connect extension lead 1 to the wall outlet. Then connect extension lead 2 to extension lead 1. This way, you can use 2 outlets from the first extension lead to charge 2 laptops. One outlet of extension lead 2 can be used to connect the 5th extension lead, and one of them is useless anyway. Now we can use 2 outlets from extension lead 2 and all 4 outlets of the 5th extension lead to charge 6 laptops. So the total number of outlets in use will be 8. Simple! Danny and Diana are spouses. They jog in the park every morning. To match every 2 steps Danny makes, Diana needs to take 3 steps. If both of them start with the right foot, how many steps would they make before their left feet are in the front at the same time? They'll never reach that goal. Here's how it'll go. I'm a 5-letter word under you. Remove the first letter and I'm above you. Remove the second and I'm around you. Who am I? Well, have you managed to crack this riddle? It's a chair. Great job! Who is wanted? The girl on the right. She has the same mole as the girl on the poster. Who is an identity thief? It's the man on the right. His real ID is sticking out of his backpack, which means he must be showing a fake ID. Who is an imposter? The girl on the left. The script she's reading is turned upside down. It means she only pretends to be an actress. Who is the real thief? Both of these men are thieves. While one man is distracting the girl, the other is preparing to steal her phone. The last will of Mr. Wilson, a rich businessman, got stolen. There were 5 people in the house at that moment: Mr. Wilson's wife, their cook, butler, maid, and gardener. They all told the detective what they'd been doing that evening. Mrs. Wilson was sitting by the fireplace embroidering. The cook was making breakfast. The butler was supervising several workers in the living room. The maid was sweeping the floors in the hallway. The gardener was watering the plants in the greenhouse. Right after this conversation, the detective arrested the thief. Who is the culprit? And how'd the detective figure it out? The cook is the thief. He said he'd been preparing breakfast, but the crime happened in the evening. Lily owned a flower store. One day, she got a call from the police. They told her that her shop had been robbed. When she arrived, shards of glass were on the ground near the store, and the pots and plants inside were broken. The police questioned 3 suspects. Jacob, Lily's ex, said, "I was in a hurry and didn't notice that the windows were broken when I was passing by the store. I only realized what had happened when the police called me." Camille, Lily's friend, said, "Lily asked me to help her with something in the store. When I arrived, everything had already been broken. I called the police immediately." Matt, Lily's ex-coworker, said, "I was walking nearby and I saw someone breaking a window and sneaking into the shop. I left my phone at home, so I ran to the police station." Can you guess who's lying? Matt is lying. Shards of glass were laying on the ground, which meant that the criminal had to break the window from the inside. Let's take a little break. Now, you need to think fast. Mary's mom has 4 daughters. One daughter is called April, the second is named May, and the third daughter is June. What's the 4th daughter's name? It's Mary, of course. Who doesn't belong to this list? Napoleon Bonaparte, Queen Elizabeth, William Shakespeare, Sherlock Holmes, Aristotle, Christopher Columbus, Donald Trump. Sherlock Holmes. He's the only fictional character on the list. 8 girls are in the house, and each of them is busy with something. The first one is cooking dinner. The second one is lighting the fireplace. The third girl is playing chess. The fourth one is reading a book. The 5th girl is drawing a picture. The 6th is cleaning up the house. The 7th girl is watering the plants. What is the 8th girl doing? She's playing chess with the 3rd girl. One woman turned 40 in 1850, but in 1860 she was 30 years old. How could this happen? This could only happen if 1860 was earlier than 1850, which means that the woman turned 40 in 1850 BCE and 30 in 1860 BCE. An artist was walking in the park when it suddenly started raining. He had neither a hat nor an umbrella to cover his head. He also couldn't hide under a tree because the downpour was too heavy, and still, not a single hair on his head got wet. How can that happen? The artist was bald. Now let's get back to our detective riddles. Robert won $1 million in the lottery. He decided not to tell anyone about this, including his wife. At home, he put his money in a safe hidden behind a painting. The next day, the money disappeared. The police invited all the suspects for questioning. Emily, Robert's wife, said, "In the morning, I went to my husband's home to clean up there. The safe was open and there was nothing inside." James, Robert's business partner, said, "Poor Robert, he always wanted to win a lottery. I stayed at home all day and yesterday and watched TV." And Mark, Robert's friend, said, "I was at the gym last night, then I went home. I can't imagine why anyone would do this." The police arrested the thief. Can you guess who it was? Robert's business partner did this. Robert didn't tell anyone that he'd won the lottery. His wife noticed an empty safe when she entered the office, but she didn't know what was inside. Marina was participating in a figure skating championship. She was a very strong competitor, and many people believed she could win. When the time for a warm-up ran out, all the participants started preparing for the performance. Marina was the first. She was amazing, but suddenly she tripped, fell down, and broke her leg, which made her unable to continue. The investigation revealed that someone had ruined her skates. The police interviewed 3 suspects. Anna said, "I didn't do anything, but I saw Jacqueline and Kate walking into the locker room before Marina's performance. They're the ones who ruined her skates." Jacqueline said, "Yes, I indeed went into the locker room to take my things, but I didn't see Kate there." And Kate said, "Yeah, that's because I've been practicing in the gym until it was my turn. Besides, Anna is lying. I saw her in the locker room." Can you guess who's lying? Kate. She couldn't train in the gym because the time for the warm-up had been over by the time the competition started. Here's what happened. Kate went into the locker room and ruined Marina's skates. Jacqueline came into the locker room after her, and that's what Anna saw. Jane is afraid that she might have a stalker. She brought some photos of herself and her friends to the police. The police immediately found the culprit. Who is Jane's stalker? Jane's friend Mike. He's the only one who is present in all the photos, and sometimes he even tries to conceal his identity. Erica works at the Railway Security Service. This morning, she received an emergency alert. There's a person with fake documents trying to escape to Canada by train. Erica and her colleagues found 3 suspects who look almost the same. Can you identify a criminal just by looking at one's passport? No matter what country a person is from, no passport can have a photo with mountains in the background. So these documents are fake. Bob is a college teacher. He invited his worst student, Dan, for a conversation. Bob wants to test the guy's logical thinking. He says, "If you tell a lie, I will expel you from college. And if you tell the truth, I'll still expel you." What should the student say to stay in college? Bob should say, "I'm telling lies." This phrase will create a paradox because it cannot be a lie or the truth. Nancy has 10 bowling balls. Her brother Josh decided to check her intelligence, so he asked Nancy to place those 10 balls in 5 lines, such that each of the lines has exactly 4 balls on them. Can you help her accomplish this task? She should draw a 5-point star and place the 10 balls occupying the corners and the intersection points. Voila! 5 lines with 4 balls in each row. Kevin has been hitchhiking in a desert for hours. Finally, one driver stopped and said,
I will give you a ride wherever you want, but first, you gotta crack my riddle. Which letter can make the road larger?
Can you help Kevin solve this task? The letter B can turn road into broad. Alex is a shepherd. He had 30 sheep, out of which all but 13 ran away. Can you calculate how many sheep Alex has now? He has 13 sheep. The phrase all but 13 ran away actually means that all except the 13 escaped. Take a look at these 3 prisoners. The first guy pushes the iron bars. The second guy shakes muscles with dumbbells. The third guy sits and reads a book. There's a picture hanging on the wall. Can you say for sure who's likely to escape? Take a closer look at the third guy. Can you see the sand under the painting? He must be digging a tunnel and covering it with a picture, so he's the one who wants to escape. All Becky's shoes are black except 2. Also, all Becky's shoes are red except 2. And all Becky's shoes are yellow except 2. Can you calculate how many shoes Becky has in general? Just 3, one of each color. Dr. Smith prescribed Dan expensive vitamins. He gave Dan 2 bottles labeled R and B. The pills are entirely identical. The doctor asked Dan to take 1 pill daily from the R bottle and 1 pill from the B bottle. He can't take more or less than that. One morning, Dan was taking out the pills. He took out 1 pill from the R bottle as usual, and then, by mistake, he took out 2 from the B bottle. Now Dan has no idea which pill is which. He can't just throw away the expensive pills. What would you suggest? Dan should cut each of the 3 pills in half and put each half in 2 piles. Now each of the 2 piles will contain half of pill R and 2 halves of pill B. Now, Dan should take 1 more pill from the R bottle, cut it into half, and put the 2 halves in 2 different piles. This way, we'll know that each pile will have 2 halves of pill R and 2 halves of pill B, or 1 complete R pill and 1 complete B pill. Dan can take 1 pile today and keep the second pile for tomorrow. I am red, but I smell like blue paint. What am I? Red paint. Timmy's mother has 3 sons. She named her first son April. The next one's name is May. Can you guess the youngest son's name? And the correct answer is Timmy. Pretty obvious, huh? Can you spot what's wrong in this picture? The reflection in the mirrors doesn't match reality. What about this picture? Can you see anything odd? These 2 ladies seem completely fine, but there's a bandage on this guy's leg. No one would go to a swimming pool if they had big scratches, unless they're a zombie. The king of octopuses has sons who have 6, 7, or 8 legs. The one with 7 legs always lies, but the one with either 6 or 8 legs always tells the truth. On a certain night, 4 sons meet and chat. The blue octopus says, "We have 28 legs altogether." The green one says, "We have 27 legs altogether." The purple one says, "We have 26 legs altogether." And the red octopus says, "We have 25 legs altogether." Can you identify the color of the sun who's speaking the truth? The green sun is telling the truth. To prove it, let us first assume that one of them is telling the truth. Obviously, 3 of the 4 suns lie as they disagree with each other. Let's suppose that the blue octopus is telling the truth. In that case, he has either 6 or 8 legs. and each of the other octopuses is lying, which means they have 7 legs. In this case, the total number of legs will be 6 plus 7 plus 7 plus 7 equals 27 legs, or 8 plus 7 plus 7 plus 7 equals 29 legs.
Tomas was washing a window on the 24th floor of a large office building, and suddenly he heard someone screaming. The guy looked outside and saw a lady falling from the 30th floor. But in 5 minutes, the woman was standing on the ground, totally unharmed. How did she survive? Take a closer look at the sky. Yes, it's Superman! He saved the lady. Look at the picture. What's wrong here? Watermelons don't grow on palms. Twin brothers Stan and Ken had been working hard. They wanted to collect money for their mother's anniversary. Unfortunately, they didn't manage to save enough to buy her the car of her dreams. The brothers were very upset and agreed to go shopping the next day and pick another gift. At night, Ken couldn't fall asleep because he got a genius idea. While his twin was sleeping, Ken secretly took all their savings and headed to a casino. It was his lucky night. He tripled the sum. In the morning, Ken put all the money back in the box and fell asleep. Stan woke up, opened the box, and immediately realized that Ken had touched their savings. He didn't even need to count the money to understand that. How did Stan figure it out? In the box, there were large and small bills in the evening, but now there are only large ones. Kelly was traveling and discovered a beautiful abandoned castle. She entered the building and went downstairs. She was taking pictures when someone locked her inside the basement. Kelly looked around and saw 3 tunnels leading to freedom. In the first tunnel, a huge hungry monster was waiting for her. The second tunnel was full of snakes, and the third tunnel was filled with sleeping gas. In 5 minutes, Kelly was outside the castle, running to the nearest police station. How did she escape? She used her headband as a mask and ran away through the third door. Look at these animals attentively. What's wrong with this picture? This little guy on the left is listening to music. 2 sisters went on a hike. Each of them took a box of matches. Nellie put her matches in a bag together with toothpaste, and Shelley decided to store her matches in a bag with nail polish. While the sisters were walking through the forest, they accidentally fell into a huge puddle. When they got out of it, Shelley suggested making a fire to dry their clothes and cook something to eat. Both sisters took out their matches. Unfortunately, Nellie's matches were covered in toothpaste, and Shelley's were in nail polish. Both girls left the matches to dry in the sun and left to collect some firewood. It started raining, and all the matches got soaked. But 10 minutes later, the sisters still managed to make a fire and toast some marshmallows. Whose matches did they use? They used Shelley's matches. The nail polish dried and made them waterproof. If you don't keep it, it'll break. What is it? It's a promise. Susan was asked to describe her sons. She said, "They're all redheads but 3, all blondes but 3, all brunettes but 3, and all pink-haired but 3. How many sons did Susan have? The answer is 4. 1 redhead, 1 pink-haired, 1 brunette, and 1 blonde. Lisa was a famous top model. She was found unconscious in her dressing room during a photo shoot and taken to a hospital. Doctors said she had a severe allergic reaction, but when Lisa came to herself, she insisted she hadn't eaten anything all day. The model's manager was very concerned and interrogated everyone who had been around Lisa. The stylist said she had applied Lisa's makeup and, indeed, hadn't seen her eating anything. The cleaning lady said she had cleaned the dressing room with organic, non-allergenic products. Lisa's main rival, Nora, said she had been watching the shooting all day long. She hadn't noticed anything suspicious. Who's the culprit? It was the stylist. Lipstick was the only thing Lisa could have swallowed that day. Look at the pictures. Which of these people is a risk taker? The girl is risking less. She's sitting on the second floor, and there's a pool below. The guy is risking more. The building he's sitting on is taller. You can see clouds and planes in the sky. What food can you never cheer up? A blueberry, because it's always blue. Haha. Okay, let's move on. There are 5 lemons in a bowl. You take away 3 of them. How many lemons do you have now? Well, you have the 3 lemons you took.
Driving through the country to visit their family. One day, late at night, they were on a lonely country road. That's when a powerful storm broke, and their car tire burst. They had to leave the vehicle to find help, but there was nothing, and no one around. Sometime later, they came across an old and spooky mansion that seemed abandoned, but the guys decided to try and see if anyone lived there and could help them. They arrived at the mansion gate. On a metal address plaque, it was written, "The House of Riddles." Gemma and Andy got suspicious, but they desperately needed shelter from the storm and some help with their car. So they decided to enter. But the gate was locked. There was a digital security keypad on it and nothing else. Suddenly, they heard a sound coming from the gate intercom. A voice said,
The answer to this riddle of mine is the password you need to unlock the gate. I sleep by day and fly at night, but I have no feathers to aid my flight. What am I?
That's a bat. When the guys arrived at the door, they saw there was something engraved on it. Stop right there, wanderer. Don't knock on the door just yet. For if you knock more or fewer times than you should, that you're gonna regret. Here's your second riddle. I am an odd number, but I become even if you take away a letter. What am I? Gemma and Andy realized that the number equaled the number of times they had to knock on the door for it to open. Can you help them figure out the correct number? The answer is 7, so they had to knock on the door 7 times. A scary old butler opened the door and let the guys in. The door suddenly closed behind their backs and then just vanished into thin air. There were no doors in the room they had entered. The butler said, "Welcome, mortals, to your doom. To make it out of this house, you have to solve every riddle in every room. If you can't, you'll stay in this place forever. Here's your riddle for this room. Which bride is marrying this groom?" If they managed to figure out the answer, a door would appear. If they could not, well, too bad. Do you see the shadows behind them? The third bride's shadow is holding hands with the groom's shadow. They're in love, so she must be his chosen one. After they had answered the riddle correctly, a door appeared in front of them. They got into the next room, which was a library. 3 books fell from a bookcase in front of their feet. Then they heard the butler's voice echoing, "You have to open one of these books, but choose wisely, because whatever creature the book mentions, it will appear here." If Gemma and Andy opened the first book, a venomous basilisk would come out. If they opened the second book, a giant piranha monster with razor-sharp teeth would appear in the library. If they opened the third book, a fire-breathing dragon would charge at them. Which book should they choose? Since the giant piranha is a water creature, it can't survive on land, so the guys should choose the second book. The library door opened, and they walked into the next room. It turned out to be a dining room. A large mirror covered one of its walls. Yet, the reflection of the room in the mirror had some differences from the real room. Can you spot them? The reflection of the deer statue in the mirror has more antlers. In the reflection, you can see someone hiding behind the curtains. But there's no one besides Gemma and Andy in the room. And lastly, in the mirror, one of the plates on the table is different from the others. But in the real dining room, all the plates are the same. Gemma and Andy felt very hungry. Thankfully, the next door that opened led them to the kitchen. There were 3 different chefs inside. The first chef was a zombie, the second one was a vampire, and the third chef was human. Each of them was holding a pie in their hands, but only one pie was safe to eat. Which one? Do you see the bugs coming out of the zombie chef's pie? Yikes! The pie that the human chef is holding is glowing in a weird way. Looks dangerous to me. So, they should choose the vampire chef's pie. Because that's not blood, that's cherry sauce on top. If it was blood, the vampire would have already eaten that. After they answered the riddle, 2 doors appeared in front of them. One of them had Gemma's name on it, and the other had Andy's. The butler sneaked behind the guys and pushed Gemma through the Gemma door, and Andy through the Andy door. Gemma fell down a pit and found herself in a mysterious garden. She accidentally woke a garden gnome who had been sleeping. He got very angry with her, and still, he agreed to let Gemma go if she answered his question correctly. He showed Gemma 3 tiny mushroom houses and asked which one was his home. Can you figure it out? Do you see the flower on the gnome's hat? The door handle of the second mushroom house handle is the same flower, so that must be his home. Andy, on the other hand, fell into a magical dungeon. The dungeon guard was an ogre, and he looked very pleased to finally have a prisoner. Yet he agreed to let Andy go if the guy chose the correct magical portal to escape. 2 magical portals appeared in front of him. Each of them led to a room. Andy had to stay inside the room of his choice for 5 minutes. The first room was full of poisonous gas that would knock him out in 4 minutes, and the second room was filled with water. If Andy opted for this room, he would have to be chained to the floor with the water rising really fast. In which room can the guy survive? Andy should choose the first room. He should take a breath and try not to breathe for a minute. After that, he'll have to wait for 4 minutes for the door to open, and then he can escape.
It was Emmanuel's dream to become the greatest detective in the world. But to do that, he needed to get accepted to the International Detective Academy. On their entrance exam, they wanted to test the visual perception skills of the potential students. So they gave students 3 images and asked them to find out what was wrong with them. The one who spotted the abnormality the fastest would get in. Here's the first image. Can you help Emmanuel out? The clock on the wall says it's 12 p.m., but the window view suggests it's sunset time. That doesn't add up, even if it's noon or midnight. Here's the second image. What's wrong here? The lady sitting at this table appears to be reading a book, but she's holding it upside down. And the last image. Spot the weird thing real quick. The picture on the wall is supposed to be a historical portrait, but the queen on it is holding a cell phone in her right hand. The county detective agency got a call from the sheriff's office. A criminal who had been in prison for a few months had escaped the jail. They were able to chase her until she blended in with the crowd at the venue where the annual Iron Lady competition was taking place. The president of the agency wanted to test the new recruit, Michelle, so he sent her to find the criminal without giving any information about what she looked like. Once Michelle arrived at the venue, two suspicious-looking ladies competing on the weightlifting stage caught her eye. Can you help Michelle identify which one is the criminal? It must be the lady on the right with the long hair and dark brown roots. Since she was in prison for a few months, she wouldn't be able to dye her hair there. Arya, a brave knight, was seeking the enchanted sword to save her kingdom from a cyclops. However, it was guarded by an ancient dragon who loved to play games. When Arya finally made it to the top of the Misty Mountains where the sword was, the dragon greeted her and said, "Only the one who answers my riddle is worthy of wielding the sword. Tell me, what is it that given one, you either have two or none?" The answer is a choice. Van Pulsing was a famous monster hunter. One day, he got a call from a couple who were the owners of an old mansion. They claimed that there were monsters occupying their home, hiding in plain sight and making them live in fear. They wanted Van Pulsing to free their house from them. He said they should continue their usual day, and he would observe where the monsters could be. Take a look at the bedroom. Can you spot the monster? Here, this is not a human hand. Where could the monster be hiding in this portrait room? Do you see Van Pulsing's shadow on the ground? It looks totally different from him. That must be some other shadow monster. Where's the monster in this reading room? Look at these candles here. The flames are eye-shaped. That must be a fire monster. The main ice sculpture at the Winter Festival was mysteriously melted hours before the grand opening. Angelica, the event planner, got suspicious of three participants: Derek, who was setting up food stalls, Olivia, in charge of decorations, and Sam, who was nowhere to be found earlier. Can you help her figure out who sabotaged the sculpture? See the small temperature arranging box directly below the sculpture area? It is password protected. And look at Olivia's palm. There are numbers written on it, which appear to be some sort of a password. It must be her who tampered with the system to melt the sculpture. Jared and Rita were going camping in the woods and had to choose a site to set up their tent. There were three differing camping areas available: Emerald Forest Camping, Firefly Mountain Campgrounds, and Starlight Lake Campsite. Can you help them decide which spot is the best? Look at this tree in Emerald Forest Camping. There's a bear hiding there. This option is definitely a dangerous one. Firefly Mountain Campgrounds is located next to a rocky hill. These loose stones and sharp rock edges pose a great risk. So they should pick the Starlight Lake campsite. A famous sculpture went missing from the art school gallery. Detective Joshua was informed that there were three students who were last seen near the gallery. Alexandra claimed that she was sketching in her notebook. Beckett said he was in a pottery class, and Caleb said he was reading in the library. Detective Joshua could immediately tell who had the missing statue. Can you? Check out Alexandra's sketchbook. Among her sketches, there's a detailed drawing of the missing sculpture, suggesting she took it to study and draw from it. The Museum of Art was doing a special exhibition of a very famous modern painting. There was a rumor that on the day of the gala, the artist who painted it was also going to be there. However, no one knew what they looked like because they were keeping their face a mystery to the public, and only the curators knew what they looked like. James was an art student and was a big fan of this painting. He had an invitation to the gala and was determined to meet the artist. Take a look at these three guests. Who do you think might be the artist of the painting behind them? We already know the name of the artist from their signature on the painting. It's Ali. Now, even though the second guy here is holding an exhibition brochure with the same signature, look at the tag he has on his jacket. It says he's the curator. So he already knows what the artist looked like, and he's just another fan. Now, check out the third lady. She's holding a red-colored pen, just like the color of the signature on the brochure. She must be the one who signed it, so she's the mysterious artist. It was snowing a lot that winter. Penny, the police officer, was on duty at the Commonwealth neighborhood. During one of her regular patrols, she noticed a suspicious-looking man who was carrying 2 bags full of stuff. When she asked him what he had in them, he said they were clothes for donation. Still, Officer Penny arrested him. Why? Look at the footprints on the snow. He left the house through the window after robbing it. If he lived there, he would rather use the door. Ellie went to the beach on a hot summer day. As she was placing her towel and umbrella on the sand, she noticed someone had dropped their diamond ring. She went to the beach guard and asked him to announce if anybody was missing their ring. After the announcement, 3 people, Jennifer, Shelley, and Marie, came and said the ring belonged to them. Can you help them figure out who is telling the truth? Take a look at Marie's ring finger on her left hand. She has a tan line there. She must have been sunbathing when she dropped her diamond ring. Bernie was working in Los Angeles, and his girlfriend Deborah was working in Austin, Texas. She was living alone in a studio apartment. They loved each other very much and talked all the time. They were keeping their long-distance relationship alive by exchanging photos every day. But one day, after Bernie received 3 photos from Deborah, he immediately called her and said everything was over between them. Can you tell why? In the bathroom photo, there are 2 toothbrushes, even though she lives alone. In the living room photo, there is a man's shoe on the floor next to the door. And in the kitchen photo, on the planner on the fridge, Tuesday is circled. And inside the circle, it says, "Date night with James." Deborah is clearly cheating on Bernie.